a reactive versus a proactive process. We've mentioned this in earlier videos and thought it makes sense to make a dedicated video to more clearly define the distinction when we talk about the process of selling a company or the process of securing capital. What is the difference between a reactive and a proactive process, and why is it so important to be proactive? And so if you think of the process, in the early stages of representing a client of an engagement, it's gathering information, it's crafting a narrative, it's understanding the thesis of why the business would be attractive to the outside world, to prospective acquirers, to prospective capital providers. And so the next step of the process is actually making contact and engaging in communications with some of those parties to evaluate whether or not the opportunity at hand could be actionable, who would be the best parties to interact and to possibly consummate a transaction with, and clearly defining with that party what the steps of the process are going to be. Now, this is where the distinction between a proactive or a reactive process plays a very important role. And so many processes out there, I'd say the majority, the information is gathered. It is then spit out to a newsletter or a mailing list, call it once a week, and interested parties have the opportunity to call in, to learn more information, to email in, to automatically sign an NDA and gather more information. But it is reactive. It's the tantamount to putting the sign outside the house when you're selling a home and waiting for the phone to ring. And it can work. However, is it the most effective way of marketing something? Is it the most effective way of engaging in those communications, of extracting offers as opposed to waiting for them? No. And that's why a proactive process is that much more important, right? And so, again, going back to the real estate analogy, the best real estate brokers are not the ones that just hang a shingle and wait. They're the ones that know the people that may be interested, are actively reaching out to the people that may be interested, have people that they're communicating with all the time, that they know what they're looking for. And therefore, those types of processes are likely to generate offers, better offers, faster offers, vis-a-vis those that just hang the shingle. And so it's not that different in the M&A or capital world. We want our processes, and our firm would be in what we think is the minority of the proactive process, where we are doing our research, both internal, external databases, people we're talking to all the time. We are defining the list of who would be interested in a particular situation, and we are reaching out to those people. We are having the communications initially on an anonymous basis relative to the company, but upon execution of an NDA, then learning of the company's name, but quickly separating the, again, as we always say, the wheat from the chaff, right? Getting our yeses fast, getting our nos faster, and really seeing who's interested quickly. And at the same time those dialogues are taking place, there are seeds being planted with other conversations that we're having that can, in a process over the first, call it 30 to 60 days, have people come back a little later saying, yes, we're interested, or other people saying, no, we're not interested. But it's all proactive, it's all outreach. We like to think of it as offer extraction for a process, as in a process that we can proactively push forward. And so people might say, well, what's the difference, right? At the end of the day, if there's going to be some interested parties, why is it so important? And what do you really see that's different, or from a, let's call it, results basis? We like to think of it as three primary variables. First being time. The reactive process we tend to see is an 18 to 24 month kind of end-to-end process from engagement to closing, if you get there. Our process, a proactive process, and the way that we function, the way that we have it on a train track going forward, we want a 6-month process start to finish. That's 100 days to offers, and thereafter confirmatory diligence leading towards a closing. And so, again, by proactively reaching out, you are materially shortening the duration of the totality of the process. Secondly, it's number of offers, right? By going out there and having the conversations, by turning over the rocks, by having the dialogues, you're able to figure out, yes, who's interested and who's not interested, but those people that may be on the fence, sometimes there's opportunities to discuss why it would really fit with them, right? In other situations, people who may think they're interested, it talks them out of it, but it saves time, right? We want to be the synthesizing factor, the clarifying factor, the litmus test for these discussions, right? So that we are spending our time efficiently and not wasting any of it, ours or our clients. And lastly, because you're dealing with a larger data set, because it's not just who happens to be reading their email or sees a newsletter or happens to stumble upon the opportunity, but because we're reaching out to, in many cases, it could be upwards of 300 different parties for a particular situation. We obviously want to balance discretion in our clients' objectives and desires for a particular situation, but there's many iterations of those conversations, and therefore you have many indications of interest leading to many offers, leading to the ability to best negotiate those offers and therefore extract the best ultimate terms for a transaction. Again, spanning across price, structure, transition periods, stakeholder considerations, and all of the other key attributes for a situation. And so just generally, the metric that we've kind of quantified over the last 7 years that we've been doing this at Hillview Partners, and in the 15 plus years I've been doing it in several capacities, is we find that our proactive process generates offers at the end of the day in closed transactions that are 50 to 70%, if not more, higher than what we see on an unsolicited or unrepresented basis. And so therefore, proactive versus reactive. And therefore, we don't wait. We leave as little to chance as possible. We leave as little to luck as possible. And I'm not sure if it was Vince Lombardi, but hope is not a strategy. And therefore, we will proactively get out there and aggressively pursue the opportunity, shortening the duration, increasing eyeballs on a situation, increasing offers, increasing leverage to negotiate, and ultimately optimizing terms. So that's a thought for today. If you can be reactive or proactive, I suppose there's different scenarios in the grand scheme of life. Some approaches may be better than others, but in the world of M&A and capital, it's always best to be proactive in the process. Hope the week's starting off well for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see everyone next time.